Hello, welcome once again to my channel. I remain your favorite IGCSE ICT coach, Amana Jerry. So today we are going to be doing May-June 2023 question paper 3-1. We'll be looking at the spreadsheet aspect. All right, so that is task 2. So we are going to create a spreadsheet to calculate and display weather data about three towns called Amata, Bengchen, and Chelsea. All right, so let's look for our source files. So always ensure your files are extracted. And in case you are not sure where to get your materials from, you can always go to Papa Cambridge, search for Papa Cambridge, and search for, including your search terms, ICT IGCSE 0417, and then the year of the paper. Okay, so it will lead you to the questions and the source files. Okay, so that's our source file. Question says you should open and examine the file weather in your spreadsheet software. Alright, so I've opened it up. Save the spreadsheet to the file name weather underscore followed by a center number, candidate number. Okay, so the first thing is to save. Click file, save as. Let's save in our source document. Ensure you do this, convert to Excel workbook. That's why you're asked to save in anyways, because in any case, because if you don't save as an Excel workbook, if it's saved as a CSV file, your formulas will not save. So let's save with a center number and candidate number and save. Good. So back to the question. Question says you should place in the footer left aligned automated file name with no file path. So you go to insert. So I'm inserting in the footer where you have the text group. Always search for the text group for your footer. So we're going to the footer left aligned. Okay, so here we are to type in the file name. So just click here for the file name. Alright, let's go back to the question. Say right aligned. Alright, your name, center number, and candidate number. So this is the right. Let's enter our name. Okay. Center number. Okay. And then candidate number. Alright, that does it. So once you're done, you can click outside the header and footer and then come back to this. Okay, to this view. So let's go back to the question. Question says we should format rows 1 to 17 of the spreadsheet to look like this. So we'll try to ensure our spreadsheet looks like this. Rows 1 to 17. So I'll keep going back and forth. So first you notice that A to D are merged. So A to D are merged and centered. So let's click on this to merge and center. I can click merge and center. Okay, the text is bold. You can see that the background is painted gray, kind of. Then we'll also see that we have from rows 1 to 4, we have borders. So you come here and do all borders. Okay, so it looks like this. And these are centered, aligned, and are bold. So we'll make it bold. Okay, I think we're done with that part. So for this, if you notice that cells A, B, and C, right, are merged. So let's merge A, B, and C. Merge, is it centered? No. So let's just merge across. Do the same thing for A, B, and C here. Merge across A, B, and C. Merge across A, B, and C. Merge across A, B, and C. merge across, and then A, B, and C, merge across. Okay, so next thing we'll do is double click between C and D. Place your cursor between C and D until you see that cursor. Alright. Okay, actually just want to open this up. If you notice, all of these are right aligned, so aligned to the right. And if you also notice this, okay, this is there's a text wrap or wrap text attached to that, and then this is brought down a bit, a little bigger, okay, and then we have the 5 on top and not beneath, so you could just stretch this out a bit. So this looks like what we have there. Then highlight up to D, okay, and all borders. Okay, so we have exactly what we have there. So let's do, for this, let's edit row 13. So this way, first off, you see, if you notice, B, C, and D are merged. So let's highlight B, C, and D and merge and center, because at the center, this is also at the center. So use this. So highlight E, F, and G, and merge and center. H, I, and J, merge and center. If you also notice, it's all bold. This is bold, so let's bolden it. Okay, we also have this bold. Okay, we have the background grid. Okay, so for 13 we have everything bold, and then the texts are all wrapped, so you click to wrap. And also look at how this is. We have the hours beneath the sunshine, it needs to rainfall. So let's try and mimic something like that. So this works well. We also notice that the text is in the middle. So you click on this to place the text in the middle, and then let's adjust this. Let's bring this out a bit, and then close this. Okay, so that we can have that. If you notice, we have a 5 here, so we need to close this up a bit. Okay, so that, yeah, so looks like that. Good. Then next build speed, wind speed, so we need to open this up a bit. Okay, and then we need to centralize the text here. Sunshine hours, rainfall, wind speed, so we need to open up wind speed. Okay, sunshine speed. All right. Okay, so we are good to go. But if you also notice, we have since we applied formatting in rows 15 to 17 down to 73. So basically what we notice there is that we have all the borders, all borders. Good. So we are good. So cells in rows 1 and 13 must be merged and center aligned. Okay, so we've done that. We've done all of that. Cells in rows 1 and 13 must be merged and center aligned with a 16-point font as shown. So our font here should be 16. Alright, that's 16, and then for row 1, 16 too. Okay, so that's good. Then cells in the range A6 to C11, let's identify A6 to C11. Okay, must be merged as shown below. Alright, so we've done that already. So it goes on to say we should print your spreadsheet showing the values. Make sure the page orientation is landscape. The contents of all cells are visible. The row and column headings are displayed. So we are printing in landscape. So you go to file, go to print. Okay, let's choose print to PDF. We are printing in A4 paper. Okay, and then we are printing landscape orientation. Let's be sure it's landscape. Yeah, landscape. Okay, so here we have 3 pages. Okay, let's scale and see print. Okay, this doesn't fit. This doesn't. Okay, this fits, but into 3 pages. Let's do the last one. Okay, so this works better. So we're going to print this right as our evidence or as our first printout. So we'll look for our file racing question paper 2023 S23 right here. So we'll call this printout 1 and save. Alright, so it says we should print out showing the values. Okay, so that's it. So next up, it says we should place in cells B3 to D3 formula to calculate for each town the average hours of sunshine for January rounded to 1 decimal place. So we're going to place in cell D3. Okay, this is D3, and in cell D, place in cells B3 to D3, cells B3 to D3. All right. Okay. Formula to calculate for each town the average hours of sunshine for January. So if you come here, these are the hours of sunshine. All right. And then for January up to row 45, we have 31st of January, and February starts right about here. Okay. So we're looking for the average. And this is for Amata, sunshine, rainfall, and wind speed for Amata. Same goes for sunshine, rainfall, wind speed for Chen. So for Amata, you use equal to average, open the bracket. We're doing average sunshine for January. So highlight up to the 31st of January, then close the bracket. But remember, it also says we should round this to 1 decimal place. So you place your round function here. Okay, functions in Excel are not case sensitive, so that's why I can get away with using smaller cases. So let's do the same for let's do the February average. Okay, sorry, we have to do for this equal to average for bank chain, and for January average sunshine. So you highlight up till the 31st. Okay, and then close your bracket, and then use the round function to round it up to 1 decimal place and hit enter. So let's do the same for this average. Open your bracket for January up till there, and then close the bracket. Let's do the round function, round this up to 1 decimal place and hit enter. Place in cells B4 to D4 formula to calculate for each town the average hours of sunshine for February rounded to 1 decimal place, just like we did before. All right, so you do equal to average, and then for each town. For Amata now, average sunshine for February. So we highlight from 46, okay, up to 73. You close the brackets and then you round to one decimal place. Round to one decimal place. Close the bracket and hit enter. Okay. All right. I think I just observed that this is 45. January ended at 45. And looks like I picked 44 here. So let's make this 45. Enter. Okay, every other one looks good. So let's do for February in bank chain. Okay, average. Decided to use the capital letter my uh, for my formulas or my functions. Okay, so highlight and then close the bracket, and then use the round function to round it up to one decimal place. One, close, and enter. So let's do for the last one, equal to average. Okay, open the brackets, average sunshine for February in the third and final city. Alright, from 46, I lie down to 73. Close the bracket and then use the round function, round to one decimal place, and hit enter. All right, so we've done all of that. So quickly, let's go back to the question. It says we should place in cells D6 to D8 formula to calculate the total number of days that it rained in each of the three towns. In D6 to D8, from this is D6, number of days that it rained in Amata. So if you check here under Amata rainfall, so it rained on this day. The rainfall in millimeter is this, but it didn't rain on these 3 days. So we're going to count the number of days it rained except these days. So we're going to be using the count if function. We're counting if, all right. So the tooltip will always help you out. So we're counting this range, rainfall for Amata, okay, for this period. Okay, so that's our range, and then our criteria. For our criteria now, we are going to say it should count the number of days that the rainfall in millimeter is greater than 0. So we're going to do this. We say always put your criteria in speech quotes, except it's a number. All right. So any day, say greater than anything greater than 0 should be counted. All right, always put that in speech quotes and you close your count if and hit enter. All right, so it counted the number of days it rained. So you could not replicate this formula down this way, but be careful when you're replicating because you need to pick the appropriate criteria. So this time around we're looking for rainfall for Bengchen. So this will be F. So you replace your C with F. Okay, make that capital F. Replace that with F. Okay, and then hit enter. Gives you the correct value. So we'll do the same thing for Chelsea. So for Chelsea, rainfall is in column I. So replace this with I and your C with I. Alright, so it gives us the accurate value. So you could count physically to be sure that you've done the right thing. Okay, so that's how that is done. So question number 6 says you should place in cell D a formula to calculate the number of days with more than 7.55 millimeter of rain in Amata. The number of days we are going to count equal to count if, okay, range in Amata, But this time around, we are counting if it is greater than, if our criteria is greater than 7.5 millimeter, that's when it should count. And close the bracket and hit enter. Okay, so the next one says you calculate the average wind speed in amateur in January. Let's be sure that's what we're doing. Place in cell D10, formula calculate the average wind speed in amateur in January, rounded up to the nearest knot. Okay, so we are calculating average wind speed in amateur. So this is the wind speed average. Let's be sure average in January. So we're only highlighting for January. January stops at D45. Okay, so that's it. And then we close the brackets. And then we're to round up to rounding up to the nearest knot. So you can use 0, hit enter. So that gives us that. So the next question says, place in cell D11 a formula to calculate the number of days with a wind speed of less than, calculate the number of days with a wind speed of less than 5 knots in amateur in January. Okay, so we are going to be counting again. Count if the wind speed, let's look at it again. Calculate the number of days amateur in January, 5 knots. So wind speed in amateur for only January. Okay, up till 45. Alright. And then comma. So we are counting the number of days that the wind speed was less than 5 knots. So this less than 5, and this, and close and enter. Okay, so these are the number of days that the wind speed was less than 5 in amateur in January. Alright, so it says we should save our spreadsheet. So Ctrl S to save. Print your spreadsheet showing the formula. So you go to formula and click on show formulas. Your formulas will show, and then it says you should make sure the row and column headings are displayed. The page orientation is landscape. So you go to file, go to print. Okay, go to landscape, already in landscape. And then this is in 2 pages but doesn't fit. Let's A4. Okay, fit columns in 1 page. And then the last thing it says is the row and column headings. The row and columns headings are displayed. Right, so to display our row and column headings, we go to page setup, go to sheet, go to row and column headings, and click OK. So our row and column headings are showing, and this is printing in 2 pages, which is fine. Let's see if we can move it into 1 page. If it works, if it doesn't work, we'll go back. Fit on 1 page. It's looking too tiny, it might not be visible. Alright. So these are some of the thinkings you should do while you do all of this. Does this fit? Does it not fit? Does everything show? You need to check and be very sure. I'm not sure everything is showing, so I'll come back and adjust till I'm sure everything shows. The formulas here, okay, take this back a bit so that the formulas are all showing. So all the formulas are showing at the moment. Okay, so you can go back to file, print, and so we can print at this point. Good. So you go to print and then call this print out 2 and save. Okay, Alright, so finally we have to print our spreadsheet showing the values. So and to show our values, just click this. Okay, so these are the values. Only cells A1 to D11 are displayed. So highlight from cell A1 to D11. Good. Since the row and column headings are not displayed, so you go to File, go to Print, go to Page Setup, go to Sheet, remove the row and column headings, click OK. Then back to the question. It says the page orientation is portrait and fits on a single page. Page orientation is portrait. Okay, this is 2 pages. Let's fit to a single page. Okay, so that does it. Alright, and then it says the contents of all cells are fully visible and can be easily read. Alright, so I think this does the work. Okay, so we're good to go. Let's be sure everything is fine before we print. Okay, for now I think everything is fine. So let's print and call this printout 3. This will be printout 3. Then we save. Okay. Alright, so we still have this task to do. It says in cell E3, calculate the total rainfall for Chelsea for January. In cells E3, total rainfall for Chelsea in January, total rainfall. So we do equal to sum. When you hear total, mine should go to sum. Total rainfall for Chelsea in January. So I like this till 45. Alright, hit enter. That gives us the total rainfall for Chelsea in January. Next, it says we should do in cell E5, calculate the total rainfall for Chelsea for February. Cells E4 equal to sum total rainfall for February. So scroll to 46. Rainfall is column I, 46. Okay, so from here, highlight the bottom. Alright, and hit enter. So that is the total rainfall for Chelsea, February. Create an appropriate chart to compare the average hours of sunshine with the total amount of rainfall for the months of January and February in Chelsea. So let's go back to our spreadsheet. So if you notice, we have this our average rainfall for January and for February for Chelsea, and then this sunshine, total sunshine. Okay, so let's form a table different from this. So let's form a table called month, and then we bring in our values for average rainfall, and then our values for total sunshine. So we're going to be doing this for the various months, January and February. Okay, so you can copy these values, copy and then right click and paste values. Do same here, copy and paste values. Do same here, copy and paste. So we can paste that value here. Also copy this and paste here. Alright, so now that this is done, we can create a chart. So highlight all the values here to insert a chart. Now, what charts do we use? The most appropriate chart would have, or we can use here, is a combo chart. That's because we are comparing two values, and at the same time, the proportion in values widely differs. So for average rainfall, we're having 3.4, 2.6, and for total sunshine, we're having 79.94. So the right thing to do is to come here, all right, and go to all charts and go to combo. Okay, so we'll be using the line chart for this. Here to also use the line chart, let's use the line chart with markers. And then if you go back to the question, it says set the month as the category axis, set the average hours of sunshine as the primary value axis. Okay, so you make this your secondary, all right, and then click OK. So this gives you this. Now the question here asks us for legend, so we take out the legend. The question also says we should set the rainfall axis to have a maximum value of 100 millimeter. So the rainfall axis, right, is set to 100 millimeters, maximum of 100, which we have. Then it went further to say we should fully label the chart. So let's fully label our charts. So let's click on our chart axis title and label them appropriately. So here, this is our month. Okay, then here we have the average hours of sunshine. So we have average hours of sunshine, and then for this axis we have rainfall, average hours of sunshine, and is it total amount of rainfall? Yes. So okay, so we title this total amount of rainfall. All right, and then our chart we title as that's our question. We should be able to get that from the question. It says well, the question doesn't say set the month as the category axis, set the average hours value axis, set the rainfall axis to have a maximum of 100, save your chart. Okay, it says we should fully label the chart. So what can we call this chart? So we can say rainfall, what do we average sunshine, let's say average sunshine stroke total rainfall. Okay, this one will just do. Okay, so what next? So save your charts and place a copy of your chart in your evidence document. Alright, so we'll just save this, S to save. And with this, we've come to the end of this video. If you have any other questions, you could drop them in the comments. I'd like to encourage you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you, and see you in the next.